What are some of the most terrifying sea monsters lurking beneath the waves? Could they be massive, slithering serpents with razor-sharp fangs, or perhaps sinister predators that bury themselves in the ocean floor, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? From creatures of the deep to beasts hidden in plain sight, we're diving into the 15 scariest sea monsters you didn't know existed. Number 15. Bloodbelly comb jelly. Jellyfish are cool, but you can't deny their creepiness either. While this member of the jellyfish family is unquestionably beautiful and exceptionally colored at the depths in which they live, they are nearly invisible to the human eye. Like so many things in the world, they are wildly beautiful but incredibly dangerous and terrifying. Good thing we got this big old piece of glass to protect us from monsters like this, right? The ghastly-looking jelly comes in varied shades of red, but is always adorned with a blood-red stomach. Get it? Bloodbelly? The sound of glittering light you see dancing throughout the remainder of its body comes from light diffracting and refracting off tiny transparent cilia. This helps them blend in with their surroundings. There's no light all the way down where these things live, meaning they're floating around like invisible ghosts. It's their defensive mechanism for predators of the deep. The species has only recently come to the attention of scientists. The creature, too, is starting to rise from its depths to shallower water. The brilliant red paints a giant target on their back in those kinds of waters. Why are so many of the ocean's deep creatures rising to the surface? Is there something more nefarious lurking below? Number 14. The Humboldt squid. Giant squids are on a mythic level. While it's a fact they do exist, they are so rare that it's becoming hard to determine the longevity of their existence. Yet, in the past few years, they've been sighted more than over the past decade. Something has stirred them into migration, and they're terrorizing the Californian coast. Reports of squid attacks on divers have increased significantly, and researchers don't know what to make of it. Remnants of their feasts are being discovered more frequently, floating along the waves and washing ashore on public beaches. The carnivorous cephalopods can weigh up to 100 pounds and move in a swarm. Some pedestrian swimmers reported tentacles enveloping their masks and yanking their camera gear, preventing solid footage from being obtained. The Humboldt squid, named after the eastern Pacific Current, is an aggressive monster notorious for attacking humans and has thus been nicknamed Red Devils. Their rusted orange and red coloring and aggressive behavior are a testament to their infamous namesake. Researchers who have been trying to study the creatures are finding it more difficult than ever to get any good samples, let alone a photo. For whatever reason, the squid is more active than seen in history. Number 13. The ribbon eel. Ribbon eels are gorgeous creatures with an interesting life. Not only does this sea monster go through different phases of coloration, but it also changes its gender. Up first is the black phase, in which the eel is a juvenile and easily recognized by the bright yellow dorsal fin that stretches across its back. As it matures, the black portion of its body turns blue, indicating it's a male and mature. As it continues to grow older, the eel changes colors yet again, and this time over to female. The all-yellow eel is as easily identifiable as any of the other bright-colored iterations. It is at this stage where the eel can lay eggs. Watching them swimming is often described as like watching fire dance. They swerve in complex and ever-changing patterns that captivate the eye. Their bright colors only amplify this magical tango. Number 12. Comb jelly. These terrifying aquatic creatures, some 150 different species, and locomote by beating rows of tiny hair-like structures called cilia. Like the jellies mentioned before, these cilia bend light at strange angles, creating a dazzling display of light pink Floyd would be proud of. This, like many other jellies, allows them to blend into the waters in which they live. While they're stunning, they're also incredibly vicious, utilizing a nightmare method of digestion to consume their prey. Known scientifically as ctenophores, they're formidable predators with ultra-fast strikes, vacuuming up all manner of plankton. The worst part of all? Their prey is digested alive, slowly but surely. Because of the depths at which they reside, the light show is hardly ever witnessed in the wild. Instead, researchers discovered its remarkable ability while studying one in a tank. Even with comb jellies that tend to live closer to the surface, the effect seems negligible until you hit them with direct artificial light. Number 11. The flying spaghetti monster. Alright, who dropped their bowl of spaghetti in the ocean? While it certainly appears to be floating chow mein, that mass of writhing tentacles is indeed a creature. Aptly named the flying spaghetti monster, these scary sea monsters cruise along the ocean's bottom, using their tentacles as fingers while searching for food. Its spaghetti-like appendages dig into the sand for crustaceans and other small prey. It's basically a living underwater Roomba. Researchers stationed on the BP oil platform captured this creepy footage while collecting video evidence some 4,000 feet deep. Experts were astonished at what they saw and submitted the evidence for further review. Unlike other deep-sea creatures that rely on muscular movement, this eerie siphonophore drifts almost motionlessly, allowing ocean currents to carry it to different hunting grounds. Its long, trailing tentacles aren't just for show. They contain specialized cells that can paralyze prey on contact, making escape nearly impossible. The sheer fragility of the organism is another reason why it's so rarely studied. Any disturbance, including slight water pressure changes, can cause the colony-like creature to break apart. What's even more fascinating is that while it looks like a single organism, it's actually made up of many smaller, genetically identical units working together in perfect harmony. Each segment plays a role, from capturing food to reproduction, making it one of the ocean's most bizarre collaborative life forms. They, too, must have considered the option that it was chow mein because the team on the oil rig discovered it and the nickname they chose, Flying Spaghetti Monster, would be its official name. A team at the National Oceanography Center later identified the creature as a siphonophore. Closely related to jellyfish and corals, siphonophores are colonial animals rarely seen due to the depths at which they reside. Now it's time for today's topic. Off the coast of the Pacific Ocean, Japanese fishermen embarking on a routine whale hunt encountered something they never expected. A shark unlike any they had seen before. At a staggering 35 feet in length, this monstrous creature was nearly double the size of the largest great whites known to science. The crew, initially assuming it was a whale snagged in their nets, was shocked as the massive, thrashing shark emerged from the deep. The shark's features were both terrifying and perplexing. Its head was unnaturally large, its teeth jagged and irregular, resembling serrated blades. Its body bore strange discolorations and deep scars, hinting at a life spent battling in the ocean's abyssal zones. Some of the fishermen reported feeling uneasy as they hauled it aboard, claiming its sheer presence felt unnatural. Once brought to shore, the catch quickly drew attention from marine biologists and government officials. Early theories suggest this massive shark may be the result of deep-sea mutations caused by exposure to undersea environmental changes or pollutants. However, many questions remain unanswered. The discovery has left experts and locals alike both awestruck and alarmed, wondering, are more of these enormous predators lurking in the unexplored depths of the ocean? Number 10. Megamouth shark. Is it really that difficult to understand how this shark got its name? If so, it might be time to clean your glasses. That mouth can't be missed. The megamouth shark is such a rare shark that it's the only member in its genus. That's saying that it's one of the most biologically unique animals on planet Earth. It was first discovered in 1976 by a fisherman who accidentally caught one in his nets and lines. Since 1976, only 100 reports of sightings have been filed by the public and researchers. The most recent sighting comes from Indonesia's Komodo Island. You have a better chance of winning the lottery twice than finding one of these elusive fish. The knowledge base is steadily growing as interested parties grow too. Despite its rarity, what scientists have learned about the megamouth shark is fascinating. Unlike other filter-feeding sharks like whale sharks and basking sharks, the megamouth has bioluminescent tissue inside its mouth, which some researchers believe is used to lure prey in the pitch-black depths. It swims with its mouth wide open, using its massive, rubbery lips to funnel plankton, jellyfish, and small fish into its cavernous throat. Its slow, almost clumsy movements make it seem like an easy target, but its ability to dive to extreme depths has helped it avoid predators for millions of years. What's even more mysterious is how little we know about its reproductive habits, with no confirmed sightings of juveniles or pregnant females. Some speculate that the megamouth may even give birth in deep, hidden oceanic trenches, away from prying human eyes. Experts believe the sharks follow a deep scattering layer in the open ocean, meaning they aren't in groups and are rarely found in pairs. As you might have imagined, they use those gaping mouths to feed by literally sucking in like a vacuum, descending back into the depths after they've had their fill. They've been sighted between the shallow and deep waters of the coasts of Taiwan and Japan. Still, they've been observed traveling from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific and Indian Oceans. This solidifies the theory of their prolific scattering around the world. Number 9. Giant green anaconda. Considering the great descendant of the legendary Titanoboa, the green anaconda is one of the largest snakes in existence. These monstrosities average lengths of up to 30 feet long and weigh over 600 pounds. If there's one snake you should avoid, it comes in the form of these alpha predators. The anaconda, like the python, is a constrictor. There's no creature on the planet it couldn't strangle with its enormous size and weight. That even includes elephants. It wouldn't find an elephant meal very appealing, if it could even digest one, but it doesn't change the fact that it has the tools to do so. Despite their massive size, green anacondas are incredibly stealthy, using their dark green, patterned scales to blend seamlessly into murky waters. Unlike other large predators that rely on speed, these snakes are ambush hunters, lurking beneath the surface until their prey ventures too close. With explosive power, they strike, coiling their muscular bodies around their victim in mere seconds. Their constriction technique is so effective that it stops blood flow before the prey even has a chance to suffocate. Some reports claim they can hold their breath for up to 10 minutes, allowing them to drag large prey underwater and drown them before consuming them whole. Surprisingly, these giants rarely attack humans unless provoked, but there have been eerie accounts of people vanishing near anaconda-infested waters. They are also known to consume prey as large as deer and caimans, stretching their elastic jaws around animals many times their width. Once they've had a large meal, they can go months without eating, allowing them to conserve energy in their slow-moving, swampy environments. These nightmarish snakes are legendary monsters throughout human history. From cave paintings to novels and even films, the horrors of one of humanity's most recounted nemeses are not in short demand. When it comes to many of these tales, the green anaconda is by far the most utilized. I mean, tremendous size, terrifying power, and a nightmarish method of murder? Yeah, it's pretty easy to be afraid of these river monsters. Number 8. Green moray eel. The moray eel is considered one of the most aggressive creatures on the planet. Its massive size allows it to dominate most ecosystems in which it thrives. Can grow up to 8 feet long. These amazing eels come equipped with a plethora of predatory tools, like a dorsal fin that runs the entire length of its body. This gives the eel extreme maneuverability and speed in the waters. They appear to be more land serpent than a deep-sea creature, but who's checking? The head of the moray eel is nightmare-inducing, with a large head, tiny eyes, and a mouth full of large jagged teeth made for ripping and tearing. Their teeth are not only sharp but are also angled backward, making it nearly impossible for prey to escape once bitten. Adding to their eerie appearance, their skin secretes a thick layer of mucus, giving them a slimy, almost alien-like texture. This mucus also plays a defensive role, protecting the eel from infections and allowing it to glide effortlessly through tight crevices in reefs. Unlike many other fish, moray eels rely heavily on their sense of smell rather than sight, as their small, beady eyes provide little advantage in the murky depths they call home. Incredibly, they are known to cooperate with other predators, such as groupers, in a hunting partnership where the eel flushes prey out of hiding, while the grouper snatches them up. Some divers have reported seeing moray eels become unexpectedly bold, lunging toward anything they perceive as a threat, including humans. Their unpredictable nature, combined with their lightning-fast strikes, makes them one of the most intimidating creatures lurking in the ocean's shadows. What makes the moray eel even stranger is that it has a jaw and set of teeth lower in its digestive tract to grab and pull prey into it. Imagine having a set of teeth halfway down your throat. Sounds like a crazy sci-fi monster, right? Number 7. Giant isopod. Crustaceans, while tasty, are arguably the ugliest creatures in the ocean. Their one saving grace was their relatively small size. If they were any bigger, they'd undoubtedly be more terrifying. Feast your eyes on these massive crustaceans. These monsters live in the deep and have only been seen by humans a handful of times throughout history. Those were fossils. This is history in the making. Scientists aboard a deep-sea expedition were gathering samples along a trench when they got a scientific surprise. Their traps and tests revealed a legendary creature thought to be extinct. The supergiant amphipods are more than 20 times larger than their typical crustacean counterparts. Unlike their smaller relatives, which scavenge on the seafloor in relative obscurity, these giants are built like armored tanks, with thick, segmented shells protecting them from the intense pressure of the deep. Their prehistoric appearance, with their spiky exoskeletons and multiple pairs of legs, makes them look like something out of a science fiction horror film. Some researchers speculate that their extreme size is an example of deep-sea gigantism, a phenomenon where creatures in the deep grow much larger than their shallow water counterparts due to fewer predators and colder temperatures. Even more fascinating, these creatures are able to go long periods without food, sometimes surviving for months at a time in the nutrient-scarce depths. When they do find a meal, they feast with a voracity that has been compared to that of land-dwelling scavengers like vultures. In some cases, giant isopods have been found clinging to the carcasses of whales, devouring the remains in eerie, slow-motion feeding frenzies. Imagine the shrimp cocktails you could host with these things. We pulled up the trap, and lying among the fish were these absolutely massive amphipods. And there was no inkling whatsoever that these things should be there, said Alan Jameson, a researcher along for the journey. They managed to capture not one, not two, but 7 specimens, in which the largest measured an incredible 11 inches long. The expedition goes down in history as the most extensive retrieval of giant amphipods in history. Number 6. Giant sea spiders. Of all the giant creatures, it could have looked like a sheep, for instance. It just had to be spiders, right? Apparently, Mother Nature thought there weren't enough scary sea monsters to go around. These spiders are brutal and terrifying predators that literally suck the life out of their prey. It's a good thing they live deep. Their legs can span a whopping 25 centimeters. To give you an idea, compare that with the world's largest land spiders like the Goliath bird-eating tarantula. They're comparable in size. Scientifically, these monsters aren't spiders at all, but arthropods. They belong to a subgroup called pycnogonids, a species of aquatic animal found scuttling its way across the ocean floor in an aimless fashion. But their slow, creeping movement is deceiving. These creatures are built for efficiency. Unlike land-dwelling spiders that inject venom, sea spiders rely on a far more unsettling method to feed. They use their long, tube-like proboscis to pierce soft-bodied animals and suck out their internal fluids, draining them like a living juice box. Some species have even been observed inserting their proboscis into prey multiple times, ensuring that no nutrients are left behind. What's even stranger is that sea spiders don't have a respiratory system like most animals. Instead, they absorb oxygen directly through their thin exoskeleton, allowing them to survive in some of the coldest and most oxygen-deprived regions of the ocean. Scientists believe that this unique adaptation could be a key reason why polar sea spiders grow so large compared to their warmer water relatives. While only a few have been discovered, they've been relatively small compared to what scientists know exists out there. Researchers suspect that the sea spiders closest to the Earth's poles are where these animals grow massive. The reason why, however, remains a mystery. Like their dry land counterparts, sea spiders can have 8 legs, but it's not a defining feature like a spider. Some have 10, even 12. These guys feed on anything small, from worms to sponges and other smaller creatures, through a proboscis that allows them to pierce and suck out their food. Whatever you do, spider, don't try to eat those meat-eating sponges. You'll be in for quite a surprise. Number 5. The striated frogfish. These fascinating predators certainly live up to their common name, the hairy frogfish, as they're covered in thousands of tentacles. These hair-like skin protrusions help them blend in among soft corals, sponges, and seaweed. Experts also suggest these hairs likely mimic the spines of sea urchins for both camouflage and poison. These creepy fish are equipped with loads of abilities, like changing color to match their surroundings. If one of these creatures doesn't want to be seen, it'd be tough for anything to see it. From the sway of its hairs to match the plants around it to its malleable color-changing ability, these fish are masters of disguise. They seek out their prey with 2 known methods, the first of which is typical of many members of the order Lophiiformes, otherwise known as the horrifying anglerfish. The frogfish's first dorsal fin spine is topped with a fleshy lure, or esca, which the fish uses to fish for prey. Any unaware prey that gets seduced gets swallowed up with lightning speed. The prey never knew what hit them. Their stomach is also expandable, and they have been known to swallow fish twice their own size. The other method of hunting is to stalk prey across the seabed using its highly sensitive pectoral and pelvic fins. These limbs are used to slowly creep up to their target before leaping into action. For all their excellent hunting abilities, they're poor swimmers. The only time you'll catch these creatures swimming vast distances is in escape. Once they've found a place to burrow, they aren't moving anytime soon. Females can grow to around 10 inches long, while males are usually considerably smaller, closer to the 5-inch range. This, too, is a trait of its cousin, the anglerfish. Courtship can be a risky endeavor, as hungry females aren't opposed to eating any careless suitors that approach. Putting a ring on it could be hard sometimes. Number 4. The stargazer. Can you figure out why they're called stargazers after a single look at these bizarre creatures? The eyes positioned on the top of their heads are a dead giveaway. While they aren't typically gazing at the stars, they are wildly aware of what's above them. It's part of their defensive strategy. It hunts on the ocean floor, waiting for prey to swim just above them and then strikes. This allows them to catch prey off guard in a quick retreat back into the cover of sand. To make themselves even more efficient ambush predators, they bury their entire bodies beneath the sand, leaving only their eyes and mouths exposed. With their upturned mouths and lightning-fast reflexes, they can inhale small fish and crustaceans in a split second. Some species even have worm-like appendages protruding from their mouths, which they wiggle to lure unsuspecting prey within striking distance. Their stealthy nature makes them incredibly difficult to spot, even for experienced divers. But their hunting prowess isn't the only thing that makes them terrifying. Stargazers are also among the few fish equipped with venomous spines, delivering a painful and potentially dangerous sting to anything that disturbs them. In some regions, local fishermen have learned to handle them with extreme caution, knowing that a single misstep can result in a numbing, electric jolt, or a venomous wound. Even more incredible, these beasts possess organs that can generate electricity. Located in a specialized pouch behind the eyes, it can discharge energy up to a shock of 50 volts. If a human had this ability, we'd call them a superhuman. Number 3. The spiny red king crab. Get out of here with your freakiness. Crabs were already scary looking, This is just lunacy. Spiny red king crabs are a taxonomic group of crab-like creatures closely related to decapod crustaceans and primarily found in cold seas. Because of their enormous size and delectable meat, many species are caught and sold as food. If any crab is beloved and caught the most, it's this guy. However, despite their popularity on dinner plates, these crabs are far from easy to catch. They thrive in some of the most frigid and treacherous waters on Earth, with fishermen risking their lives to haul them up from the depths. Their powerful claws, designed for crushing mollusks and prey, have enough force to snap a human finger clean off. Adding to their intimidating appearance, their spiny shells are covered in jagged protrusions that help protect them from predators. Unlike other crabs that prefer to scuttle along the ocean floor, these giants can cover vast distances by walking sideways across the seafloor in large, coordinated migrations. They are also highly opportunistic feeders, consuming anything from fish carcasses to small invertebrates, making them a crucial part of the marine food chain. Originally classified as hermit crabs, king crabs were eventually placed in their own superfamily. As with most things in the scientific community, this didn't go without controversy, as there's widespread consensus that king crabs derive from hermit crabs. As of now, the official ruling is in favor of a separate route. Only time will tell which side is correct. And who knows, maybe they're both wrong. Number 2. The vampire squid from hell. Its name elicits fear. It lives in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean. It has spikes and tentacles older than the dinosaurs, and its scientific name literally translates to vampire squid from hell. What more sea monster attributes do you need to start running for the hills? Despite all its mythical and fear-inducing titles, the deep-sea squid is actually a pretty chill beast. They feed on plankton, not blood, mind their own business, and are equipped with some of the most ancient features of evolution that scientists can find. They are a great example of why judging a book by its cover is never a good idea. Its appearance looks both like an octopus and a squid combined. The webbing between each tentacle makes it look like it's wearing a cape, like a vampire. But instead of using its cloak for theatrics, it flips it inside out as a defense mechanism, revealing a spiny, menacing underside to scare away predators. Unlike most deep-sea creatures that rely on bioluminescence for hunting, the vampire squid uses its glowing blue eyes and flashing photophores to confuse potential threats. If danger persists, it releases a cloud of mucus filled with bioluminescent particles, creating a glowing smoke screen while it makes its escape. This unique adaptation makes it one of the few deep-sea animals that use light not to hunt, but to survive. These deceiving creatures live in a region of the ocean known as the OMZ, or oxygen minimum zone. Like the other beasts down there, they have a plethora of tools to help them survive the dangers of the deep. Sea monsters are all from the perspective of the individual. Sure, some of them sport features more often used in horror films and stories than others, but none are more objectively monstrous. Like all the other living creatures on the planet, they're just trying to survive the best way they know how. Number 1. Meat-eating sponge. There are meat-eating plants on land, so why wouldn't there be some in the ocean as well? Mother Nature's newest terrifying aquatic monster comes at us in the form of a sea sponge. First thought to be harmless, this aptly named carnivorous plant changes things. Its remarkable resemblance to an instrument gives rise to its more common name, the harp sponge. Beautiful, majestic, scary. Look close enough at these ravenous predators, and you'll notice its limbs are covered with barbed hooks. When prey, allured by the plant's sweet smell, swims up to take a nibble, the hooks dig in. There's little hope of escaping once one of these sponges ensnares its prey. Unlike traditional sponges that passively filter nutrients from the water, this one actively traps and consumes living organisms. Scientists were shocked to discover that its digestive process can take weeks, slowly breaking down its victims with enzymes. Some harp sponges have been observed capturing multiple prey at once, wrapping their delicate yet deadly branches around anything unfortunate enough to drift too close. This eerie method of feeding sets it apart from nearly every other sponge species known to science. They eat anything from small fish to crustaceans and other types of plants. Once the harp sponge has its prey in its grasp, its branches excrete a thin membrane that encapsulates the prey, then slowly digests it through its pores. The remarkable sponge clings to muddy sediment on the ocean floor with root-like tendrils, which it can uproot and be carried away by the currents whenever it desires. The first harp sponge scientists found had only 2 branches. As further research was brought to the table, they can seemingly grow an infinite number of branches. Most live in the deep ocean, making it difficult to thoroughly research and understand. The sponges collected recently mark the first time researchers have had an opportunity to observe full-circle carnivorous behavior. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss out on our awesome content.